So it is Saturday morning, and I'm drinking my coffee. And for whatever reason, I felt super compelled to get my computer out and film this. It has been something that has been on my mind for a while now, and it's just been on the forefront of my mind for a couple weeks. So I thought I'm going to do it while I have time and when the inspiration is sparked. So that's why I'm here in my pajamas and my hair like this and no makeup and just drinking my coffee because I feel like if I'm going to come on here and be raw and vulnerable and talk about my life story essentially, then what the heck is the point of making myself look any less raw, you know? So yeah, I'm going to be talking about my life. um, and I've been wanting to do this video for a really long time, mainly to help people and help myself, um, myself in the way of talk therapy and just talking about it and getting it out and kind of releasing all the energy, and also to help the people who have also been through it because there are so many moments where I have felt alone. And even though I know I'm not alone, I've still felt alone in that, like no one else gets it. And it's such a frustrating thing to feel like you don't have anyone to understand and empathize in a way of like having been through it, if that makes sense. Anyways, I'm going to stop babbling and just start talking because there's a lot. So, I grew up pretty normal. It was just me, my mom, my brother. My dad left the picture when I was one. Um, Also, by the way, I will probably be bouncing around a lot because I feel like things will spark in my mind, um, or I'll kind of have to bring up a certain specific part of a situation that I'm talking about. So I'm sorry if I'm a little scattered. Um, so, yeah, my dad left the picture when I was one. He is a brutal alcoholic and has been my whole life. So it's been shitty, really shitty, but it is what it is and it's all I know. So, yeah. Um, anyway, so yeah, my dad was always kind of in and out of my life. There were a lot of times where I went a long time without talking to him. Also, tears will happen in this video. So, yeah. There were long amounts of time where I went without talking to him. There were a lot of Christmases I didn't see him, like holidays in general. He was just a very absent person in my life. Um, and now my mom's amazing. She got sober when I was 5 or 6, and she just celebrated her 21-year cake this summer, and I couldn't be more proud of her. She's amazing. Um, so yeah, so she got sober, and it was awesome. My brother and I lived the greatest childhood. I was always the happiest kid. Um, and yeah, we just were a happy old family. Just me, my mom, and my brother did everything together. Um, and then things were fine until um, I want to say I was in grade 7. We had moved from our childhood house that I was in till about grade 6. And we moved when I was in grade 7. So I was like 13, 12, 13. Anyways, so I changed schools. That was hard. I was starting to come to realization with how sick and toxic my dad was. Um, I thought he was going to die because when I first came to this realization of how bad his um, addiction was, like how much he was drinking, and I think a few years prior he had gone to rehab because he was into drugs really bad. And so when I was young and I was coming to the realization that my dad was really sick and his drinking had become so unmanageable, I thought he was going to die. And I would walk to school crying, listening to P. Diddy, Every Step You Take, or whatever that remix of that song is. I would listen to that song and I would cry because I thought that my dad was going to die. And that was like 13, 14 years ago. And he's still here. But we'll get to that. So that from then on, I feel like, once I hit puberty and we moved and I started to realize kind of everything and come into like preteen, young adult phase, things started to get a bit harder. My brother started to experiment with drugs, and that was kind of the beginning of the slippery slope. So I remember when I was in grade 8, I remember going to school crying my eyes out because my brother had taken a bunch of ecstasy the night before and was up all night and was just so high. And me being this young teenager, not knowing what was going on, I was beside myself. Again, I thought my brother was at such risk. For me, being that young teenager and not understanding why my brother was doing what he was doing was hard on me, and then, not knowing what was going to happen with him, and then my dad still in his addiction, it started to get hard. So he started dabbling into drugs then. He went from ecstasy to coke, and I actually don't know. And it's not really my place to talk too much about his experience, but this is just kind of my experience with it, being his sister. But our family kind of drifted. My dad wasn't really in the picture much because he was always working far to, work and just live his little drunken hobbit life. Hermit life, not hobbit life. But yeah, so by the time I was about 15, 16, my family was pretty scattered and broken and not together. And we kind of, we just fell apart as a family, but we still loved each other and made that very clear. So even though my family's always been very dysfunctional, we've always been very loving. So, my dad was always gone, and my brother was always out experimenting on drugs or just super stoned in his room. And I was this like weird hermit teenager that just kind of did her own thing in her bedroom. Even years ago, I was filming videos in my bedroom talking about the silliest things to think about now. But that's what I did. And then things were kind of normal, but not normal for a few years. And then I graduated high school. And then shit hit the fan. My brother was into heroin. I don't think my mom knew how to handle it. And she relapsed on drugs. And my dad was living up north, belligerated every day, all the time. And so I'd get calls from my dad bitching about my mom relapsing and being worried about my brother being messed up shooting heroin. And then I'd get calls from my mom all messed up on drugs. And then I wouldn't know where my brother was. And that is when I cracked for the first time. But I didn't know that's what was happening. I didn't know because I wasn't as self-aware as I am now. So I just kind of worked really hard, too much. I became a workaholic. Um, I became a workaholic. I distracted myself a lot. Um, and I just developed that kind of routine. I developed a routine of running away from things, um, distracting myself, which is kind of the same thing, I guess, and working a lot. Because that is what made it the easiest to just cope, I guess. Um, and so um, I, yeah, I just kind of did that for a while. And then eventually my mom got clean. Um, and thank God. She is an amazing woman, and the way she got clean still is like, that's not for right now to talk about, but the way she got clean is so amazing, and she is just the most incredible woman ever. But yeah, so she got clean. My brother was still into drugs, but he kind of went in and out of detox centers, in and out of treatment centers, and that's been his life for years. So my mom got clean and stayed clean, um, but my relationship with my dad has been fucked, really fucked. Um, it's really messed me up as a person, but it's also messed up my relationships with people, my relationships with men, my relationship with myself. Um, People don't realize, like, and I don't want to sound like I'm putting myself in this like victim role or I'm placing myself on a pity pot. That's not what I'm doing. I just want to make some people, I guess, more aware, because I feel like a lot of people sometimes don't realize how freaking good they have it. Um, and I wish that some people were able to be more grateful for what they do have, because there are a lot of people that don't have that. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with what I'm going to say, if that makes sense. So people don't realize how hard it is to move through life as a strong human being and a functioning adult growing up without a parent. And when I say without a parent, my dad was still there, but not really. And even when he was drunk. And um, my dad wasn't always an angry drunk, but now he's a friggin' monster. He kind of turned into a monster about 6 years ago. Um, he just is so angry and hates himself so much. To watch someone who brought me into this world hate himself that much and want to drown himself that much is very hard. And then being the fixer that I am, not being able to do anything is hard. And then just alone not really having a dad. Like, it's all pretty tough. But I'm here and I've made it, and I wouldn't be here making this video if it weren't for everything that's happened in my life. So, anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. But, so, yeah, from about 19 on, it was a path of kind of just pushing forward and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and just trying to teach myself how to live my life and be happy and a responsible functioning adult. And I moved to the northern part of the province I'm from and lived with my boyfriend at the time for a couple years, and that was a very exhilarating experience, I guess, because it changed me as a person for sure. Um, and then when I moved home with my dog Chevy, that is when my life started to really evolve. Um, and the past 5 years have been a lot. They've been pretty heavy, but they've also been very necessary. And I look back now and I say, thank goodness all of that stuff happened. Um, it was a lot of hurt, a lot of dysfunction with different relationships, whether it be friends, family, boyfriends, all of it. Also, in the last 5 years, besides the self growth, um, there's been a lot of having to accept apologies that I never got and never will get, having to grieve the roles of family members even though they're still alive, mostly being my dad, but also mourning kind of my brother because I never really had a relationship with either of them. So I don't know what it's like. I think Chevy knows I'm crying. Hi. um, yep, she's coming. Come here, Chef. Come here. Oh, hello. Sit. I don't really know what it's like to have my dad in my life or my brother in my life because I never did. They've always been absent even for their own lives, so they can't be present for mine. They can't even be present for themselves. So it was hard to kind of weave my way. Kate, you're in the frame, silly girl. Sit. Lay down. Lay down. It was hard for me to weave my way through life um, without having that guidance and without having those people to be able to turn to. Whoa, I didn't think it was going to be this hard to talk about. It's okay, Chef. Um, but, yeah, so it's been a lot of just learning the past 5 years. And, I mean, yeah. And it's only really been in the last year that I've really dove into self-discovery, self-love, healing, self-development, just all of it. I've really just kind of put myself in the driver's seat and said, you know what? I'm not going to let other people dictate my life anymore. I'm not going to live for other people anymore. I'm not going to live my life trying to fix other people because I have to fix myself. And I really started to truly want to live for myself, show up for myself, and stop putting myself last. So yeah, I feel like that's why I was called to make this video, because I want to talk about my story more, and I want to I want to share my experiences more. I want to help myself and help people all at the same time, because I feel like ooh, at the end of the day, we're all in this together. We're all living in this crazy world together. We all reside this beautiful planet together, so why not work on it together? Um, and so, yeah. I know I was kind of everywhere in this video, but I didn't want to write a script or like read from anything, because that's not my jam. That's not the way I like to do things. So I knew that it would be purely from my heart if I just came on and just. So, yeah. My most recent struggles have been accepting my dad not being in my life anymore by my choice, because I couldn't handle having a abrupt, toxic, abusive, alcoholic father in my life anymore, because it was just too straining on me. And that is a whole video in itself. But yeah. And another big struggle is learning to accept that my brother is out there shooting heroin with people dropping like flies given the fentanyl epidemic. Having that in my subconscious, knowing that could be a reality at any moment, but still having to push forward and be a good human and show up for myself and my family and my friends and my business and just everything, having to show up just in general. That is something that is a really big learning curve. Shut up. But I'm doing it and I'm learning and I'm growing from it. So, I mean, I have to be grateful for it, even though it kind of sucks sometimes. And just allowing myself to have people that truly love me in my life. And I know to some people that might sound silly. I might sound kind of crazy saying that it's hard for me to accept love and it's hard for me to accept people caring about me. But if you came from a family of only half the love that you were supposed to get, you'll understand. Now, I don't say that out of like oh poor me way. I say it out of a very realistic way. That's how I grew up, and it's okay. It is okay, because it's my story. I'm proud about my story, and I have this one to love me. But yeah, so this is my story, and I've been through what I've been through for a reason, and it's molded me into who I am today, and I'm proud of that person. So all I can do now with my story is help it inspire others and help it, or have it help drive me to be a better person, and just really take care of myself, because I can't change others and I can't fix other people. And the only person I can truly fix, even to a certain extent, is myself. So it's taken me up to this point to get that and to really grasp it. I'm so glad I'm only 26 and I'm getting a grasp on all of this, because some people never do. And so I'm very grateful I'm getting the chance to. So, yeah. Thanks for letting me ramble. And to those of you who watched to the end, thank you. It means a lot to me. Um, and yeah, I have wanted to share this for a long time. And even though I was all over the place, I'm hoping that it kind of opens the door for more videos like this, because I feel like these are the types of videos that resonate with me, that I feel motivated to make, because I just want to help people with my story, and I want to help get it out there because I truly feel like it will help me so much and help with my healing. And let's just all work together, because that's what life is all about, and that's the most beautiful part. Right, Chef? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna go make some brekkie and edit this and watch it and hope that it's not too scattered. Because right now I'm thinking back and I'm like, I was here, there, and everywhere, but that's just me anyways. So, yeah, happy Saturday, or whatever day it is that you're watching this. I mean, I doubt it'll even get posted on a Saturday anyways, but happy days just in general. And yeah, thanks for watching.